So far we've created a user list with the user list item dummy component, and when you click, it goes to the user's detail with the route parameter being the user's ID. First, let's go over to the user's service. So we have our get users function. Now let's create a get user singular. We're going to do almost the same as we did in here on the top, but instead of collection, we're gonna call it for a doc, and we're also gonna pass the ID over here so we can get the user's detail. So first, let's create a user doc reference in here. That will be a document also for a user, and now we can call it in here because this does AFS doc. That's a user in here, and users slash, and here we're going to pass an ID, and this ID we're gonna get from the component. And we return the this.user doc. We also gonna look for the value changes. Okay, so now we are expecting an ID from the component in here, which is gonna be a string. We are going to create a Firestore document reference in here and link it to a point in our database. And here we return the document and listen for value changes. So we need to somehow extract this ID from the URL and pass it to the component. And it so happens that Angular gives exactly what we need in the activated route. So let's import it from router, and it's called activate route there. Let's create a reference for it in here in the constructor, private, because you're going to use inside our component TS, activate route there. And let's also create a user service, get out imported for me, which is amazing. Here we're gonna create a reference for the user, and we need to import the user module. So let's create our function that is gonna retrieve the user. It's gonna be a void. Let's create an ID variable to store the ID we're gonna retrieve from the URL. So get, we ask for the ID. Now we're gonna call the user service and that get user function. Here we're gonna pass this ID we got from the router, and we're gonna subscribe to it. And whatever it returns, we are going to add it to this .user that we create in here on the top. So now let's save, and nothing works because we need to call that function here on the ng init. So now that's done, we need to add the user's data in here. Let's copy our list item and paste it in our detail component. We also need to remove this router link. Here we have the user list, and you click on it. Now we have the user's profile. ZA7, ZA7. If you choose any other user profile, with these few lines of code, you can get some information from the browser, retrieve and display some data. Really simple. Next, we're going to create a user dashboard so the users can edit their data, change pictures. I see you in the next lesson.